Mary was 34 years old when she realized her entire life was built on lies. Not lies that other people told her, lies she told herself. She had spent the last 15 years doing exactly what she was supposed to do. Go to church on Sundays, pray before meals, read her Bible, be a good person, be a good daughter, be a good wife, be a good mother. She checked every box. But inside, she was dying. Nobody knew. Her husband thought she was fine. Her children thought she was fine. Her church thought she was fine. Even her pastor thought she was fine. But fine was a performance. Fine was a mask. Fine was the version of Mary that everyone else needed her to be. The real Mary, the one nobody saw, was breaking. She had married young, at 19, to a man her father chose because he was a good Christian man from a good Christian family. It wasn't a bad marriage. It was just empty. There was no passion, no real connection, no sense that they were building something together. They were just two people living parallel lives under the same roof. She had children because that's what wives do. She had 3 of them. Beautiful children who she loved deeply. But raising them alone while her husband worked and came home tired, it drained something from her that she didn't know how to refill. She worked a job she hated to pay for things she didn't need. She smiled at people who didn't smile back. She gave to people who never gave to her. She prayed prayers that felt like they were hitting the ceiling and bouncing back empty. And every single day she asked God the same question. Is this it? Is this all my life is supposed to be? One night, she can't even remember what triggered it. Mary broke. Not in a dramatic way. Not in front of anyone. She was alone in her car after dropping her youngest at soccer practice. She was driving through traffic, listening to a worship song on the radio, and something in the lyrics reached into her chest and pulled out every emotion she had been burying for 15 years. She pulled into a parking lot, turned off the engine, and she cried. She cried for the dream she never pursued. She cried for the version of herself she had abandoned, to be who everyone else needed her to be. She cried for the marriage that felt like a cage. She cried for the life that looked perfect from the outside but felt like a slow death from the inside. And in the middle of that breakdown, she prayed. But this wasn't a nice prayer. This wasn't a prayer that sounded good in church. This was a raw, angry, desperate prayer. God, if you're real, if you're actually listening, I need you to tell me the truth, not the version of truth that makes everyone comfortable. The actual truth about my life, about my marriage, about who I'm supposed to be, because I can't keep living like this. I can't keep pretending. I'm dying inside and nobody even knows. And then she waited, not expecting an answer. Not really. She had prayed thousands of prayers and gotten silence in return. But this time was different. This time God spoke. Not in words, not audibly, but in a knowing, a deep knowing that she couldn't deny or explain away. The knowing was this: I never asked you to abandon yourself to make others comfortable. I never asked you to kill your dreams so others could sleep peacefully. I never asked you to become someone you're not. You did that. And now I'm asking you to stop. Mary sat in that car for hours, and something shifted inside her. She didn't get an answer to her marriage. God didn't tell her to stay or leave. He didn't fix her husband. He didn't magically make her children behave better or make her job better or make her life easier. He just told her the truth she had been avoiding, that she was responsible for her own life, that her happiness wasn't someone else's job, that staying small to make others comfortable was not obedience to God. It was disobedience to herself, that God loved her enough to want her to be fully alive, not half alive in a life that looked good from the outside. Everything changed after that prayer. Not immediately, not overnight, but slowly. Mary started going to therapy, not because anything was wrong with her, but because she needed help understanding why she had abandoned herself. She started having difficult conversations with her husband. Not mean conversations, just honest ones. I'm not happy. We're not happy. We need to do something different. Her husband got defensive at first. He thought it meant she wanted to leave. But eventually, slowly, he understood. She wasn't rejecting him. She was inviting him to actually know her, to actually build something real with her instead of just living parallel lives. Mary went back to school, something she had wanted to do at 19 but was told it was a waste of money. At 34, she enrolled in night classes. It was hard. It was exhausting. But it was hers. She started therapy to deal with the fact that she had been taught her whole life that her needs didn't matter. That being a good Christian woman meant sacrificing everything about yourself for everyone else. Nobody told her that, but she learned it. Somehow she learned it, and it had cost her 15 years. Her marriage got better, not because her husband became perfect, but because she stopped needing him to be. She stopped looking to him to complete her. She stopped making his happiness her responsibility. When you stop abandoning yourself, you stop resenting the people around you. Her relationship with her children improved too, because now they had a mother who was actually alive, who was building something, who was pursuing something, who was showing them that it's okay to want things for yourself. Her job got better, not because the job changed, but because she stopped hating herself for doing it, and eventually she found a different job, one she actually liked. But the biggest change was her prayer life, because now when Mary prayed, she wasn't praying to escape her life. She was praying from a place of actually building her life. She was praying for wisdom, not rescue. She was praying for strength to keep going, not for God to do it for her. And God answered those prayers, not with miracles, but with opportunities, with courage, with the kind of peace that comes from finally being honest with yourself and with God. This is what Mary discovered about God. God doesn't ask you to disappear so everyone else can be comfortable. God doesn't ask you to kill your dreams because other people are afraid. God doesn't ask you to become someone you're not. What God asks is for you to be fully alive, to pursue the life He gave you, to use the gifts He gave you, to become the person He created you to be. And if people can't handle that, if people reject you because you're finally living, that's their issue, not yours. If you're watching this and you recognize yourself in Mary's story, maybe you've been abandoning yourself to keep everyone else comfortable. Maybe you've been shrinking yourself so others could feel bigger. Maybe you've been killing parts of yourself to be who everyone else needs you to be. I want you to know something. God sees you, and God is asking you to come alive, not tomorrow. Not when everything is perfect. Not when everyone gives you permission. Now, start small if you have to, but start. Take that class. Have that conversation. Make that change. Pursue that dream. Be honest about what you actually want. God doesn't want a version of you that's acceptable to everyone else. God wants the real you, the full you, the version of you that's actually alive. That's the prayer that changes everything. Not the prayer for rescue, but the prayer for truth. God, show me the truth about my life, about myself, about who I'm really supposed to be, and give me the courage to actually live it. When you pray that prayer, everything changes. Mary's story is real. The names change. The circumstances change. But the truth stays the same. God wants you alive. Not half alive. Not pretending. Alive. If this story reached you tonight, subscribe. Because next week, I'm sharing another story about someone who chose to be fully alive and how it transformed everything. You don't have to live a life that looks good from the outside but feels empty on the inside. You can choose different. My name is Faith T. Berrien. I'll see you in the next story.